Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Morena, and welcome here. There'll be a formal welcome to these proceedings by our Grand Master and others, but from my point of view, Kevin Nelson, I'm asked to be MC for this occasion, a very special occasion. Just several points before we commence our ceremonies today and presentations. Obviously, I'm required under the parliamentary rules here to ask you to pay attention perhaps while we read the appropriate safety authorities. In a fire, should the fire alarm sound, please evacuate the venue via the same route you entered or via the nearest safe exit. Please follow the directions of security staff and fire wardens. The evacuation assembly point is Bolger Park at the rear of Parliament. In the event of a medical emergency, please refrain from calling 111, inform security or venue staff immediately, and security will manage any medical emergency within the parliamentary complex. In the event of an earthquake, drop, cover and hold until it stops. Please keep away from windows and other obvious hazards in the venue. Please remain inside the venue and await instructions from the security staff. The toilet facilities for the Legislative Council chambers are locked downstairs on the ground floor near the main entrance. And well, perhaps it goes without saying, but if you are carrying a mobile device, could I ask you to check it's on silent? I know how easily overlooked that can be, and thank you for that. Well, I now ask you to be upstanding to receive the Grand Master, our official party. Would you please stand? Thank you. Would you please be seated? This is a very special occasion, the 47th of these proceedings, the presentation to such worthy individuals. And appropriately at the start today, I'd wish to thank our host today from Parliament, Camilla Bellich MP. And Camilla, if I maybe ask you to come forward and just address us. Thank you. To the lectern on the other side.
Tēnā koutou katoa, ngā mihi nui kia koutou e hui hui mai nei I tēnei rā. My name is Camilla Bellich. I am a Member of Parliament here at Parliament. I'm a Labour MP and I live in Auckland. And it is my absolute honour to host you here today and to celebrate the success of all of the scholarship recipients. Thank you both to all of the Freemasons, but especially to the Grand Master Jim Watt. Thank you very much for your warm welcome today and for, I think you said your 15th time presiding over these scholarship award ceremonies. So certainly a huge contribution from you to these awards and I'm sure generally to the Freemasons in general. So as previously mentioned, although this is an extremely special day today, it's certainly not the first of these types of events, and I understand it's the 47th year that the Freemasons have had these particular scholarships here. And I think the approximate cost, or I'm informed that it has been over $6.5 million across 1,700 students and no sign of that abating either. So an extremely impressive contribution that Freemasons have made to scholarship recipients, not only here today, but in the past as well. And so the main reason, of course, that we're here today is to celebrate the 36 recipients of these scholarships. And I had the pleasure of receiving the booklet and looking at some of the information about all of you. And I have to say, all of your stories and your backgrounds are incredibly impressive. And I think some of the things that stood out for me most was the emphasis that these particular scholarships have on good citizenship, leadership potential, and proven community commitment. So these are traits that are not only deserving of celebration and success, which we will do today, but they're also important attributes for our community and our democracy to continue to thrive. So I congratulate you on being successful on those extremely important measures. Another notable thing from the booklet that I was able to see, and I'm sure I look forward to hearing more about you as we hear about your stories as you receive your awards, was the diversity of the different areas that you participated in. So the opera singing and psychology, marine science, food science, genetics. It's a huge, a very impressive array of different areas that you're studying, and I wanted to particularly congratulate Todd, who is doing his PhD in disaster and emergency management. One of my portfolios as a Labour Party spokesperson is in emergency management, so I am very aware of how important this particular area of study is to New Zealand, and was very impressed to see the work that you had done in that particular area, so congratulations to you. Also wanted to, before I leave you today, to allow the proceedings to continue, to acknowledge those friends and family who are here in the room with you. I know none of you would have been here had it not been for the support of your friends and family, and it was great to see some parents here. It was also amazing to see some people with their children here. I know that it isn't without sacrifice that you are here today, and so it's not only a success that you should be proud of for yourself as individuals, but also on behalf of your families. So congratulations to those families for allowing the important person in your life who's being celebrated here today to thrive and to achieve at such an impressive level. So I won't take too much more of your time, but I wanted to again thank the Grandmaster Jim Watt, and I understand this is your last year being Grandmaster at these scholarship ceremonies, so I wanted to thank you for your work today and also for your work over the previous 15 years. And it's been my absolute honour to host you all here. I hope you all come back. This is your place, Parliament, and we could certainly do with some of the research and ideas that you are studying and some of the debates that we participate in and some of the laws that we make. So congratulations to everyone here, and welcome to Parliament, and I hope the rest of the ceremony goes extremely well. Congratulations.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to have you here, I know, and to host us today. It's my pleasure now to introduce our Grandmaster, Grandmaster Jim Watt.
Welcome, everyone, and thank you for coming here today and joining us. We're actually gathered here today to celebrate a remarkable group of young scholars, leaders in the making, and a reflection of the bright future ahead for New Zealand. It's my distinct honour to welcome you, your whānau and your family and supporters to this special celebration of the Freemasons New Zealand University Scholarships. As previously been said, this marks the 47th year of us presenting these scholarships. They were first established in 1978. And since then, we've proudly supported over 1,700 students, as you've already heard, and invested over $6.5 million. That was an investment into New Zealand's future. This isn't just a contribution to individuals. It's a long-term investment into the potential, innovation, and leadership that will shape our country. So today we welcome you, the 2025 class, as the latest recipients of this proud tradition. And so on behalf of all the Freemasons in New Zealand, I congratulate you. You are now part of a legacy which is embedded in purpose and service. We're also delighted to welcome you here today in the beating heart of our democracy, Parliament buildings. In particular, this room, which is the Legislative Council chamber, and of course the adjoining Grand Hall. These places are both very rich in history. Until 1951, this chamber actually housed the upper house, and it's where the state opening of Parliament is held after each election, and it's where the Governor-General delivers the speech from the throne. And in January 1954, at the centennial year of our Parliament, Her Majesty the Queen, Queen Elizabeth II, opened a very special session of Parliament in this very room, marking it the first time that a reigning monarch had opened Parliament in New Zealand. But who are we, the Freemasons of New Zealand? Our origins stretch back to the skilled stonemasons of the Middle Ages, builders of Europe's great cathedrals and castles. These artisans formed lodges to protect their craft, passing on their knowledge to worthier apprentices with symbols, handshakes and stories. And remember, this is long before the world of diplomas. And you may have heard rumours about us that we're into world domination and secret handshakes. Well, I hate to disappoint the conspiracy theorists, but taking over the world is not one of our agendas going forward at the moment. At the moment, I might hasten to add. However, we do still use those traditional signs and handshakes, not for secrecy's sake, but to test integrity, to recognise one another, and to uphold the values that we share. By the 17th century, the age of castle building in Europe had started to wane. So Freemasonry evolved. It welcomed into its midst men of quality and of principle, not just craftsmen. Our first grown lodge was formed in England in 1717. And by 1842, the oldest lodge in New Zealand, which just happens to be my lodge, New Zealand Pacific, here in Wellington, was meeting here in Wellington. So that's 12 years before Parliament ever sat in New Zealand. And just by way of point of interest, there's 2 or 3 of us in this room fly out in a couple of weeks' time to Ireland, to Dublin, to celebrate 300 years of Freemasonry in Ireland. So we have a long heritage, we go back a long way. Nelson Mandela once said, "It is in your hands to make a difference." And that's exactly what we strive to do, to make a difference in our communities. One of Freemasons' best kept secrets is the amount of work we do in our communities. Every year, the Freemasons in New Zealand quietly contribute between $7 and $10 million into our various communities through our charitable support. We support local kindergartens, disaster relief, rescue helicopters. We train youth search and rescue. And then there's our investment in aged care and medical research. Our goal is to build stronger, healthier communities. We are one of the largest private charitable providers of aged care in New Zealand. We proudly support research in child health at Otago University, brain research at the University of Auckland, and of course the groundbreaking CAR T-cell research, cancer research, which is presently being carried out here at the Milligan Institute for Medical Research here in Wellington. Globally, Freemasonry is the oldest and largest charitable organisation, with over 160 grand lodges doing similar work to that which we do. But today isn't about honouring tradition. It's about looking forward to you. You're not just scholarship recipients. You are tomorrow's innovators and change makers. You follow in the footsteps of many who have stood before you, leaders in business, in medicine, in science, and in public service. So take a minute to look around you. This room holds future doctors, scientists, teachers, and policy makers. More than that, it holds the spirit and potential of New Zealand's future. Your friends and family should be immensely proud of you, not for what you've achieved to date, but what the future holds for you. Our nation faces complex challenges: climate change, digital transformation, mental well-being, the call for quality education and healthcare. Meeting these challenges will require fresh thinking, bold leadership and empathy. That's why our investment in you is more than just financial. It is a statement of our belief in your ability to lead with purpose and vision. As you rise in your careers, Never underestimate the ripple effect of your actions. Use your success not only to climb, but to lift. Become a mentor, the community leader. Become the advocate and the voice for those that do not have one. That is how the value of this scholarship is then truly multiplied into the future. The future of New Zealand isn't a distant event waiting to happen. It's yours to define, to lead and to build. It will rise and fall on the strength of your ideas, your leadership, and your willingness to act. You're not the next generation, you're the now generation, and the responsibility is already in your hands. We understand that your journey will take you far. You'll travel, you'll study, and you'll work abroad, and so should you. But wherever life leads, I want you to remember one of our Masonic teachings. You should always hold dear to the land of your infant birth and nurture. New Zealand has nurtured your beginnings. When the time is right, find ways to give back to the country in which you were raised. And finally, before I leave you, I'll leave you with the words of Winston Churchill, who was a Freemason and a man who understood the true value of service. We make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give. So go forth, take your knowledge, your creativity, and your compassion, and make a life that contributes. Build something lasting. Leave the world better than you found it. Congratulations, you've truly deserved this moment.
Grand Master, I think the applause indicated the reception of that wonderful address. And it's my pleasure now to introduce Professor Stephen Croucher to address us.
Sit, stay. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. E noa, toria ko whakapai e tēnā e noa nui o te mataranga tēnā I mihi. Maiwa kia koutoa. Greetings, greetings, greetings to you all, to the students who have reached this important milestone in education. Heartfelt congratulations to you all. Today, we celebrate what I would say is a wonderful achievement for all of you, the awarding of Freemason scholarships. I'd like to thank the Grand Master for his words and also for inviting me here today. I have to say it was a surprise to have the invitation, and I'm really humbled to, first of all, speak after him. I don't know if I can do any better, and I'm not going to try to, but it's great to be here in front of all of you and to have this opportunity to be here. For each of you, this moment represents years and years of hard work, perseverance, and yes, I would say probably being a student myself not too long ago, I'd say 20 or more years ago, a few panic attacks. Let's say over some final exams, those papers, those did I do that quiz or not, did I turn that in on time, calling mom and dad and saying, I don't know if I did this or not, but you know what? You've made it. And it's great to be recognized. As you step forward into that next chapter of your lives, whether it's undergraduate, postgraduate, master's, PhD, there's one quality I want you all to think about. I want you all to recognize. One thing that I believe is the most important thing. It's more than talent. It's more than intelligence, and it's more important than luck. That quality is resilience. That's what I want to talk a bit about today. So for the past 8 years, I've been the dean or head of school for communication, journalism, and marketing at Massey University. And before that, I was a professor and director of an intercultural program at the University of Jyväskylä in Finland. And I've been an academic for nearly 20 years. And one of the things I can say that's most important for someone in an academic environment, which these young academics are going to be in, and all of us are in, whether we're in academia, whether we're working in plumbing, aviation, anywhere, is we need resilience. And we often don't think about it, but it's critical for our lives. So what is it? What is resilience? Resilience is not about never failing. It's about getting back up. It's not about avoiding failure. It's about learning from it. And it's not about pretending to be strong all the time. It's about showing up anyway, even when you're scared, tired, anxious, uncertain, aggravated, mad. Resilience is what keeps us going when everything in us just wants to, give up, throw it all away. So, a few examples. So I'm a huge tennis fan. It's one of my favorite sports to watch. And I hope all of you know who Roger Federer is. If not, you just need to go to the back door back there and walk outside. Roger Federer is, I'll just say, probably the greatest male tennis player of all time. And if you disagree, well, we can disagree on that, but you're wrong. Federer is a legend in tennis. 20 Grand Slam titles, the smoothest backhand. It's like watching butter. It's just amazing to watch. But most people forget when Roger Federer started, he didn't look so good on the court. As a teenager, Federer was a brat. He made John McEnroe, now I'm going way back in time for some of the younger folks here. He made John McEnroe look relaxed. Federer threw his racket so many times. He threw tantrums. He would completely go berserk when he lost matches. Scream, everything. Coaches worried he didn't have the temperament to succeed, particularly when he was in the juniors. Brat's an understatement. But something changed. Federer started to work not just on his game, but on his emotional and his logical resilience. Basically, he realized, I'm not going to do this. I can't continue like this. He learned how to lose without breaking down. He learned how to fight back with grace. And that shift, particularly in his emotional resilience, is what made him, I would say, the best male tennis player that we've seen play. Federer once said, you have to believe in the long-term plan you have, but you need the short-term goals to motivate and inspire you and to keep you grounded. That's a great way to look at resilience. You have to believe in the long-term plan, but you need the short-term goals. And I can say as a teacher, one of the things I've seen is I have so many students who just think about the long term, but don't think about the short term. You need to realize short term. And it's the same thing in any industry you're in. You need short-term goals, but you also need to think about the long term. You need both. You can't just think about one. That's resilience. Keep your eyes on the long game. Don't forget the short game, even when the score isn't in your favor. Let's take another sports example. I really do like sports here. Michael Jordan. Now, I'm originally from the United States. You might notice my accent isn't Kiwi. So I've been here now 8 years, but I'm a huge basketball fan. Can't you tell I played basketball all through high school? I slam dunk and everything. Not me, but I loved watching it. And Michael Jordan was probably my favorite player growing up. And in high school, people might not know this, but Michael Jordan didn't make the varsity basketball team when he was in high school. He was cut. Most people think Jordan, seriously, like the best basketball player ever, was cut from his varsity basketball team. And when Jordan tells this story, he says, yeah, I went home. I threw my shoes, I threw things, I broke some stuff, and I cried that night. He could have walked away, but many of us who especially love basketball are very glad he didn't. Years later, Jordan would say, I've missed over 9,000 shots in my career. And people just remember, Jordan jumping in like, whoosh, slamming things. But he missed over 9,000 shots. I've lost almost 300 games. I failed over and over and over again in my life. And that's why I succeed, because I failed so much. That's resilience. You succeed because you have failed. Resilience isn't perfection. It's persistence. It's constantly pushing yourself even when you fail. So another titan of sports, I won't keep talking about sports, don't worry, I'll change, is Serena Williams, another tennis person. Serena has faced so many injuries, prejudice, racism, criticism, and even life-threatening health complications during her pregnancy. And yet, every time, she's come back. She reinvented her game, she's raised a daughter, she became a voice for women's health, racial injustice, and maternal rights. Serena once said in one of her autobiographies, "I really think a champion is defined not by their wins, but by how they can recover when they fall." So there's your definition of resilience again. Falling doesn't define you. Getting back up does. So let's walk away from sports for a second and look at politics. So the Grand Masters already talked about Nelson Mandela, but another man who showed great resilience. The guy was jailed for 27 years for fighting apartheid in South Africa. He could have come out bitter, vengeful, broken, but instead, he came out ready to lead with forgiveness and courage and empathy. He led South Africa into a new era, not by denying his pain, but recognizing and being transformed by it. Mandela said in his inaugural speech, "The greatest glory in living lies, not in never failing, but in rising every time we fall." One of the last public examples I'll provide comes from Barack Obama, the first black president of the United States, who was born to a single mother, raised by his grandparents, told over and over that he didn't look like or talk like most of the people who had ever sat in the Oval Office. But he kept going. He organized communities, he ran for office, he lost. He learned. And in 2008, he made history. He said, quote, "Making your mark on the world is hard. If it were easy, everybody would do it. But it's not. It takes patience. It takes commitment, and it comes with plenty of failure along the way." That's the truth. Resilience is what makes a mark last. And the final example is, I'll tell you a story of a 7-year-old boy who had never spoken, was verbally quiet until he was 7, grew up in a multilingual home, but only did math, never spoke until after 7 years old. His family had to show a lot of resilience because they were constantly told, your child clearly has problems. Your child's clearly autistic. Child's not speaking, verbally quiet. That family clearly had to have a lot of resilience, a lot of doctor's appointments, a lot of emotional problems, a lot of emotional difficulties, working with a child who just wouldn't speak for some reason. Over time, the child began to speak, stuttering, other issues. The child began to realize they excelled in mathematics, started to learn after receiving therapy they could speak. Over time, working hard, the family realized maybe the child didn't have anything to say. But things work out. Over time, things all worked. Mathematics, speak, everything. Sometimes you have to work together and realize you're going to have a difficult time, but things can actually work out. And I can say that, that child's doing very well now in their late 40s, doing very well, academic career, travels the world, is a Mason, stands in front of you, and does fine, but didn't speak till after they were 7. And so it's really recognizing your challenges and learning how to overcome them is often resilience. So let's talk about you, not sports people and politicians. Some of you made it here while balancing part-time jobs. Some of you dealt with anxiety, illness, or loss. Some of you are the first in your family to go to university. Some of you might be immigrants. Some of you nearly gave up and didn't. That's resilience. And don't let anyone tell you it doesn't count. You've already proven you can push through challenges. You've lived through a pandemic. Just remember that. That's something most people will never be able to talk about. You've grown up in a world full of uncertainty, and you're still here. And I'm going to tell you the truth. The world ahead will have more setbacks. There's going to be more rejections. You're going to be told no. Get ready for it. Let me ask the scholars, how many of you are your first year in university? Okay. Get ready for teachers to tell you no. It's going to happen. My best advice, get over it. It's going to happen. We're going to be told no in our jobs. We're not going to like it. We have to find a way to get used to it. But move past it. Go beyond it. We have to stay in the game. We have to show up, try again, ask for help, use our resilience to grow from it. The world doesn't need people who never fall. It needs people who bounce back. Entrepreneurs fall forward. Artists keep crafting after rejection. Activists fight for change, even if it's slow. Friends reach out, even after being hurt. Scientists who keep trying to discover, even when their first tries are, well, duds. The truth is, your generation is going to face problems none of us have fully resolved. Let me leave you with a few simple ways to build your resilience. First, don't fear failure. Learn from it. Every loss is a lesson in disguise. I failed so many times in my life, I can't keep track of it. That's the truth. But it's helped make me who I am. Second, surround yourself with people who lift you up. Don't be around those who pull you down. Anchors are not something you need in life. Third, take care of your mental health. Your mind is not separate from your strength. Fourth, keep showing up. Some days, just showing up is the bravest thing you can do. Trust me, there are some days where I want to just be wrapped up in my blanket at home. It doesn't really accomplish anything, except it does make my cat happy, but you need to show up. 5, celebrate small wins. Big success is really just a bunch of small victories piled up. And 6, and finally, I'm a big fan of old Hollywood actors and actresses, besides sports figures, of course, as you well gathered. Lauren Bacall, one of my favorite Hollywood actresses, and probably my mom's favorite actress, and my mom and I are really close, she once said, "I never minded the little things." I really live by that. Don't let the small things throw you for a loop. You will get aggravated at university and life, trust me. So many things will seem huge to you, but ask yourself this: is it all that important in the grand scheme of things? I ask myself the following whenever something happens in life. Does it affect my ability to breathe, so my life, or my partner's ability to breathe? If it doesn't do those two things, is it really that important? Now, that may seem trite to people, but really, if it doesn't affect the ability of my partner and I to live, it's really not all that important. So to wrap it up, in tennis, there are match points. In basketball, buzzer beaters. In life, we don't always know when the game is on the line, but we always get to choose how we respond. Roger Federer, he didn't win every match, but he became a legend by always getting back up and playing the next point. So as you leave here today and step into your next challenge, carry this with you. You will fall, but you will rise. You will lose, but you'll learn. You will struggle, but you'll grow. And you will keep going. As a Master Mason and as a professor, I'm always proud to see our scholarship winners. I'm always proud of this event. And I'm proud of what you're achieving for not only your families and whānau, but also for New Zealand. It's just the beginning. Whatever life throws your way, remember, resilience is the key. Congratulations, and thank you.
Professor Stephen Croucher, ladies and gentlemen, and Stephen, thank you. Well, we come to that very special time, why we're gathered here, of course, for the presentations. What will happen is that as a student's name or recipient's name is called, they will stand, and I'll read their bio as they make their way forward here to be received by the Grand Master to receive the presentation. So this flowers, the floral display makes it a little tricky, but you come up onto the dais here, receive the presentation, and as a group of those from a specific university, remain on the other side there for a group photograph at the end, and then retire as those universities until the next university is called. Let's start these proceedings today. Todd Miller. Todd is pursuing his doctorate in disaster and emergency management within the goal of enhancing disaster management communication systems to save lives and reduce the impact of emergencies on communities. His research focuses on understanding how organizations collaborate within the emergency management system, aiming to find ways to improve communication. Todd has over 20 years of experience as an emergency management professional working in both New Zealand and Australia. This includes volunteering as a firefighter, EMT and diving instructor with St John Ambulance, as well as being the response manager and health liaison for the White Island eruption. He is passionate about education and mentoring, which has motivated him to regularly guest lecture at the University of Auckland and the Auckland University of Technology. Upon the completion of his doctorate, Todd aspires to hold a leadership role within the emergency management system, focusing on facilitating seamless communication and collaboration between agencies engaged in emergency responses. From the Auckland University of Technology, ladies and gentlemen, Todd Miller. Is that fine?
No, I mean the group photograph, sorry. Sure, that's fine. So hop over onto that side.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You're right,
Sorry
Todd.
to interrupt them too.
That's fine, Grand Master. It's your prerogative, Grand Master. It's your prerogative. I don't disagree. And now, Chelsea Windelburn. Chelsea is in the third year of her bachelor's degree, mentoring and nursing, as well as the compulsory courses. She is elected to study risk management and complexities in acute scenarios. By the end of this year, she will have completed her pre-registration placement for her to go to take the university nursing registration exam that will allow her to become a registered nurse. In early 2022, Chelsea began volunteering with elder care volunteers, where she was able to develop her communication skills and experience, difficult and deepening patient care firsthand. This experience sparked her interest in dementia care and deepened her compassion, resilience, and leadership skills. She continues to participate and organise charity events such as movie nights with the Ronald McDonald House. Chelsea is considering pursuing multiple areas of nursing, gerontology nursing, where she could engage her passion for dementia care, and rural nursing, as she is passionate about providing person-centred care to patients without reliable healthcare access. Ladies and gentlemen, from the Auckland University of Technology, Chelsea Windelburn. And from the University of Auckland, Angela Barnett. Angela is furthering her education with a Master's in Creative Writing, working on a book exploring loss and grief. She feels this is an important area to further and explore with her work because of the ill effects the suppression of grief can have on an individual's physical, mental, social, and spiritual well-being. Angela strongly believes in the need to grieve a loss to be able to move forward. Angela, I'm a funeral celebrant. I appreciate very much what you're doing. Angela, as an intersectional feminist who believes in equitable systems for all genders and that everyone has the right to live their life free from discrimination and harm. She has established charities in Zambia and Mendocino to send girls to school, as well as founding Pretty Smart in 2017, delivering talks to schools about body confidence and beauty ideals for intermediate-age girls in the US and Aotearoa. After completing her Master's, Angela plans to finish her book and continue to work with Y25, a program she co-founded with the YWCA, which brings together trailblazing wahine and tahine between the ages of 15 and 25. And this program focuses on young people from Maori, Pacifica, migrant, refugee, rainbow, and disabilities communities, many of whom experience discrimination and face barriers in our society. Ladies and gentlemen, Angela Barnett. And Damon Hurley O'Brien. Damon is currently pursuing a conjoint Bachelor of Music in Performance Cello and a Bachelor of Science in Psychology. These degrees combine his passions and set him up to take his music career to a postgraduate level in Europe. He has gained recognition as an emerging artist in the World Edge Festival in Queenstown, which awarded him a fellowship for 2024. Damon describes music as his life. He has performed in multiple classical performance groups across New Zealand and as a drummer for the popular heavy metal band, Cyanide Altar. This has allowed him to experience the magic of performing in a highly professional environment, as well as the sense of community and connection that comes from working closely with other young musicians. And outside of music, Damon also works as a disability support carer. He's currently the principal cellist of the Auckland Youth Orchestra, the University of Auckland Symphony Orchestra, and St Matthews in the City Chamber Orchestra. Ladies and gentlemen, Damon Hurley O'Brien. Unable to attend today from the University of Auckland is Gabriella Beecroft. And briefly, Gabriella is engaged in the final year of her Bachelor of Commerce, majoring in economics and international business. And she aims to deepen her understanding of how economic policies and global business practices can influence policy, improve lives, and address global challenges. And we extend our congratulations. This is being recorded, of course, to Gabriella. Now to Ivan Zhang. Ivan is completing his conjoint Bachelor of Laws and Bachelor of Music, majoring in law and classical performance voice. He intends to go on to postgraduate honours studies this year. Following that, he will audition for either the master's program of the Aotearoa New Zealand Opera Studio or overseas conservatories. Ivan is passionate about problem solving and service to the community, which he has demonstrated through his extensive co-curricular commitments. While attending university, he has contributed his time to causes such as Rainbow Business and Social Innovation New Zealand, being the advocacy lead for Rainbow Business in 2023. Additionally, he has completed overseas as part of the University of Auckland Case Club, winning awards in first place divisions alongside his team. Ivan has also held 2 terms as president of the School of Music Students Association. And after advancing his education and capability in music overseas, Ivan plans to return to New Zealand and work as a voice teacher while performing as a soloist as often as he can. Ladies and gentlemen, Ivan Zhang. And now it's time for the first of the group photographs, Grandmaster. And so we move to the University of Waikato. Xavier Connolly. Xavier is engaged in a postgraduate diploma majoring in psychology with hopes to be accepted into the clinical psychology program at Waikato University. This course would allow her to achieve her dream of becoming a registered child and adolescent clinical psychologist. From a young age, Xavier has learned to care for the vulnerable, volunteering at her local community centre, developing a neighbourhood support group, and working on the St Vincent de Paul food van. In high school, she was awarded the College Award for service to peer support, the Mary Jo Belfer and Centennial Medals for Christian service, the Interact Club for overall service, and the Assisi Club for Quad Aegis Award for her attitude to leadership as an academic. Cultural supporting and service areas are speciality. At university, she has been volunteering for a counselling in schools program. Once she's become a registered psychologist, Xavier plans to branch off and start her own service based in kaupapa Māori values with a focus on supporting children who have experienced early life trauma. Kia ora, Xavier Connolly, ladies and gentlemen. Bella Muir. Bella has chosen to undertake a Bachelor of Science, majoring in Marine Science, as she wants to gain greater understanding of our marine ecosystem and the wider implications. Building on this, she plans to get her master's in the same field to engage in further research on the sustainable management of fisheries. Since she was 7 years old, Bella has wanted to save our oceans, going on to attend the Blake Inspire program for environmental young leaders in 2022. While studying, she volunteers for Surf Life Saving New Zealand, and through this she has received the Under-19 Lifeguard of the Year in 2021 and again in 2023. Bella's main career goal is to be a key contributor towards creating a sustainable future for our oceans through sustainable management, protection and education. She hopes to participate in research assignments for an organisation such as National Geographic, where she could also indulge her love of photography and videography. Ladies and gentlemen, Bella Muir. Cullen White. Cullen is completing a conjoint Bachelor of Laws with honours and a Bachelor of Science majoring in molecular and cellular biology. He is pursuing his conjoint degree as he is passionate about the regulation of emerging science and technology. Outside of his studies, Cullen has competed in university law competitions, winning the New Zealand Law Students Association Witness Examination Competition in 2024. He is currently employed as a law clerk and as a tutor for first year and second year papers. This support of younger students was a factor in his election as the president of the Waikato University Law Students Association this year. Upon completion of his studies, Cullen intends to be admitted as a barrister and solicitor of the High Court of New Zealand. He is interested in areas of law that overlap with science, such as intellectual property and public policy. Cullen hopes to leverage his career for the benefit of all people. Ladies and gentlemen, Cullen White. Nicola Stanton. Nicola is pursuing a Bachelor of Health, majoring in biomedical sciences, minoring in human resource management. She believes that this combination will enable her to bridge the gap between science and people management, contributing to a more compassionate health system. Nicola's upbringing inspired her interest in environmental action, which has led her participation in conservation efforts with the Taranaki Kiwi Trust, and was subsequently awarded the Taranaki Regional Council Award for Environmental Action in Education. Following from this, she went on to an environmental expedition to the subantarctic islands alongside Doc and the Royal New Zealand Navy. And throughout her journey at university, Nicola has gained valuable knowledge about Māori health and health equity, and this has solidified her interest in exploring how kaupapa Māori principles are applied to healthcare. Nicola is committed to using her career to advocate for and implement changes that address the unique health needs of underrepresented communities in New Zealand. Through her unique combination, Nicola aims to be part of the solution that bridges current health disparities. Ladies and gentlemen, Nicola Stanton. And now there's a group photo, Grandmaster. Now we move to the Massey University, and I now invite Karia Dahalan to come forward. You want to bring the wee ones? Yeah, that's Adam and Zane. There we are. So we welcome Adam and Zane, wouldn't we? Kadia is completing a PhD in chemistry focusing on the design and synthesis of multi-component metal organic frameworks. She's exploring innovative approaches to create these, emphasizing their potential application in catalysis, drug delivery, and gas separation. By the end of her doctorate, she will be equipped with the practical skills necessary to pave the way for future research and industry roles in materials science and biomedical medications. Outside of chemistry, Khadir is also passionate about helping children connect with their roots by learning Arabic. She is conscious of the effect our globalized world has on young people who find themselves adrift at the intersection of multiple cultures and aims to help them stay connected with their heritage. Khadir is eager to contribute to meaningful research, in part motivated by discovering how her work can support sustainability and combat climate change. As such, she would like to seek a position in research and development at a company focusing on sustainable materials and environmental technologies. Potential employers include companies in the fields of energy storage, carbon capture, and drug delivery systems. Ladies and gentlemen, Katia Tarwan. All good. Okay. Also from Amosa Lene. Talofa Amosa. Amosa is in the final year of his Bachelor of Commercial Music and is focusing on music as a tool for community engagement and collaboration. He is passionate about music being used to bring Pacifica communities together, with choral and chamber orchestral music as a particular area of focus for his talents as a composer and choir director. His compositions draw on both traditional Samoan and contemporary influences. He aims to not only create beautiful music, but tools for cultural learning and preservation. As a composer, music educator, and choral director for more than 10 years, community is at the heart of Amosa's work and passions. During this time of teaching, he discovered that not only was music a tool for community engagement, but would also empower students and the wider community. Through teaching, he hopes the future of Pacifica arts will find new ways of thriving and adapting, particularly in the diaspora of our Pacifica communities. And upon completion of his studies, Amosa plans to become an established composer and choral orchestral conductor with a deep commitment to preserving and promoting Samoan community and culture through music. Ladies and gentlemen, Amosa Lene. And Hannah Yates. Hannah is undertaking a final year of her Bachelor of Communications. She is studying public relations with additional classes in the marketing and social media spaces. She particularly enjoys work in coordinating media and media responses. Upon the completion of her degree, Hannah hopes to continue working for the Canterbury Rugby and Crusaders communications teams, for whom she has already been doing great work. On top of this, Hannah has been volunteering for the Saracens Rugby Club, because in her words, I thought it was only right to give back to something that had given my family so much joy. She began as their fundraising executive, but progressed to managing their social media presence as well. Hannah plans to continue volunteering in this or a similar capacity for her community beyond her studies after she has begun full-time work. Ladies and gentlemen, Hannah Yates. Now, Michelle Mart. Michelle is pursuing a Bachelor of Veterinary Science and is passionate about staying at the forefront of medical science and utilising the best evidence-based practice. She plans to continue her professional development as a member of the Companion Animal Veterinarians branch at the New Zealand Veterinary Association. Once established in a practice, Michelle plans to further her education through postgraduate qualifications. She is particularly passionate about providing mental health support after the loss of a pet, and she wants to make studies in this area as a veterinarian. Additionally, she plans to volunteer in low-cost spay-neuter clinics abroad to provide support and deepen her understanding of global animal welfare and strengthen her ability to handle complex cases. While she currently works as a vet nurse, upon the completion of her qualifications, Michelle plans to bring everything she has learned at university and through volunteering into her work as a veterinarian so she may improve the field as much as she is able. Ladies and gentlemen, Michelle Mart. Again, group photograph on, Grandmaster. And while that photos were taken, there is one, we moved to Victoria University of Wellington, but while the photos are there, there's one here unable to attend, Kathy Breed. And Kathy's undertaking a PhD in the Department of Environmental Studies, focusing on the Capital Kiwi Conservation Project, and she's investigating the impact of reintroducing kiwi into urban areas. With this work, she seeks to contribute to the ongoing dialogue about conservation and coexistence in a rapidly changing world. On top of her PhD, Kathy is a member of Climate Club Aotearoa, working to help busy individuals make meaningful climate actions. She also volunteers at Zealandia, initially as a range assistant and later as a kaka feeder. And if that's being watched, Kathy, congratulations to you also. And from the Victoria University of Wellington, Abby Wood. Abby is pursuing a Bachelor of Design Innovation, majoring in Communication Design. She is interested in business, entrepreneurship, and creative design, as she is passionate about creating impactful and inclusive designs to support business and wider community good. Abby volunteered as a school photographer throughout her time at Sacred Heart Girls' College and participated in the Duke of Edinburgh Award Program. She is now a student volunteer army member, completing over 80 hours of volunteering. And in 2021, she was invited to become a volunteer observer on the Board of Trustees for the startup Taranaki Charitable Trust, and is now a full-time trustee. Abby has been awarded the Young Enterprise Scheme Emerging Alumni of the Year in 2023. And upon the completion of her degree, Abby hopes to work in the field of creative design, advertising and marketing, with a particular interest in fast-moving consumer goods, small business and community-based organisation. In the pursuit of this, she gained experience interning at Egmont Honey, TGM Creative and Idyllic. Ladies and gentlemen, Abby Wood. And Brianna Burt. Brianna is completing her Bachelor of Arts, majoring in Psychology and Criminology. She is aiming to do a Master's in Forensic Psychology, as well as a postgraduate diploma in Clinical Psychology, with aspirations to work in the New Zealand correctional system. Brianna has a keen interest in community participation, beginning Taekwondo at age 10, which will master Taekwondo. She is set on a path to join the military, where she trained for 3 years to become a military medic. When she eventually left to pursue her tertiary education, Brianna remained a part of the Reserve Force, which has given her opportunities to continue her medical training and giving her role with St John, allowing her to provide first aid for community events. Brianna recognises the significant need for change within the correctional systems that could address social inequities and flaws in the prison system. She hopes for a career that involves giving back to the community and helping others, as this can ensure that she will be an active participant in making those meaningful changes and improvements. Ladies and gentlemen, Brianna Burt. If we would move to the photographs, Grandmaster, I will then just relate for Winter Tickle. Winter Tickle has unable to attend today as well from Victoria University of Wellington. Winter is finishing her Bachelor of Science, majoring in Chemistry. She hopes to go on to complete a Master's in Chemistry at a European university. Winter enjoys learning about culture, languages and mythology. She's also a Fencing New Zealand top-ranked competitive women's épée fencer and represents Victoria University in regional, national and international competitions. She's actively involved in the international and science communities, being a member of the New Zealand Institute of Chemistry, member of the New Zealand Institute of International Affairs and the Wellington International Leadership Program. Ladies and gentlemen, Winter Tickle. And so we move to Lincoln University and to Emily Thompson. Emily is pursuing a postgraduate degree, a diploma in agricultural science after completing a Bachelor of Science majoring in physics. She is studying a range of areas such as ecology, genetics, and animal science to decide on which pathway to take into the agricultural industry. Emily is widely involved in her community. She was co-president of the University of Canterbury Amateur Sports Society Executive and maintains involvement in the Southland District Youth Council, where she's enjoyed learning about the internal affairs of local government. Once she has chosen a speciality, Emily plans to work alongside farmers to support sustainability in the agricultural sector. She has a particular interest in catchment groups, believing they provide an exciting pathway forward, supporting self-led environmental sustainability, and has been involved in the Makarewa Headwaters Catchment Group since its establishment in 2019. Ladies and gentlemen, Emily Thompson. Cougar Griffith. And Cougar is currently engaged in a Bachelor of Science majoring in food science. And once completed, he hopes to further his studies with taught Masters in Food Innovation. Kruger has experience working in the hospitality industry, where his interest in food development began and was expanded through his work and shadow opportunities provided at Nelson College. In his final year there, he volunteered at the Nelson Women's Club, organising the Environmental Committee, Ball Committee, and was a member of the Student Council. When the time comes to begin his career, Kruger wants to work in the food engineering space, focusing on the research and development of products. He enjoys lab work and believes in designing products that are better for human consumption and the environment without sacrificing taste. Ladies and gentlemen, Kruger Griffith. There's now a group photograph. A little group photograph. And we move to the University of Canterbury and Benjamin Crisp. Benjamin is pursuing a Master's in Applied Translation and Interpreting with a language focus of Spanish. He hopes to participate in an overseas exchange during his course to further his understanding, as well as travel to Granada in Spain. Benjamin is primarily passionate about languages, making room in his study schedule to supervise the Diplomas de Español como Lengua Extranjera. Have I got that? Thank you. I don't speak Spanish. Exams at Burnside High School and being head of the student helper team at the Spanish Immersion Day at UC. In his second year, he went on to Erasmus Plus exchange in Spain. He's also returned to his high school twice to present each Spanish class, advertising what can be done with the language and what can be expected should they pursue it as he has. Upon completing his studies, Benjamin aspires to be a translator and interpreter, potentially for the European Union or United Nations. Alternatively, he could begin a career as junior diplomat, as it would also show him to be immersed in foreign culture and set him on the path to eventually becoming an ambassador for New Zealand. Ladies and gentlemen, Benjamin Crisp. And so to Dylan Blundell. Dylan is completing his Bachelor of Commerce, majoring in Finance and Economics. He is considering furthering his education with an honours degree in finance or exploring the Chartered Financial Analyst pathway. His long-term education goal is to study for an MBA that would complement his finance background and help him pursue senior roles in corporate finance or investment banking. Aside from his education, Dylan participates widely in his community. He worked for the non-profit Creative Trust, which focuses on closing the digital divide in low decile schools. He's also a rangatahi ambassador, working with kids from Maori and Pacifica communities. He holds here's another one, careful, Grand Master. He holds a black belt in Kung Fu, and he's been instructing junior students, encouraging resilience and discipline. Dylan is also currently working to enhance the experience for international students at UC as an internationalization assistant, I beg your pardon. Dylan's ideal career beginning would be investment banking with an ultimate objective to collaborate on M&A deals and capital raising activities. He hopes to develop expertise in advising clients on complex transactions and capital structure decisions while building a strong network in the global industry with which he can further his career. Ladies and gentlemen, Dylan Blundell. And to Jessica Rett. Jessica is in the final year of her Bachelor of Laws, majoring in law and criminal justice. She is the first person in her family to attend university, and having previous work experience volunteering at Community Law Canterbury as a caseworker and with the Prison Advice Service, she is passionate about making a real difference in people's lives. Jessica is involved in her university community, initially as the treasurer and later president for CrimSoc, New Zealand's only criminal justice society. She has also been social media manager for 180 Degrees, Consulting Canterbury, helping to connect students with local non-profits and social enterprises to provide innovative, practical and sustainable solutions to the challenges they face. She's also just completed the Mike Moore Congressional Internship at Washington, D.C. After nearly 5 years attending university, Jessica's dream graduate job would be as a judge's clerk for one of the senior courts of New Zealand. And following from this, she hopes to join a law firm working in either child and family law or employment near Christchurch, which will allow her to work face-to-face with the clients she hopes to help. Ladies and gentlemen, Jessica Ratt. And so to Piper Bingley. Piper is pursuing a conjoint Bachelor of Laws with honours and Bachelor of Arts majoring in economics. Her honours dissertation examines the social discount rate used in cost-benefit analysis and its sustainability for achieving intergenerational equity. With this, she hopes to ensure that policy decisions account for long-term ramifications to avoid disadvantaging future generations. Piper has been heavily involved in both on-campus and off-campus communities, such as serving as the secretary of the Styx Living Laboratory Trust, a river care group of the Pukeharui Styx River catchment, and as a council-nominated trustee for the Rod Donald Banks Peninsula Trust. Piper's passion for the environment also extends to her work as a Takahei ambassador for the Department of Conservation, as well as appearing as a keynote speaker at the Environmental Defence Society Biodiversity and Climate Crisis Conference and the Sustainable Business Council Climate Change and Business Conference in 2024. Piper's primary goal is to improve environmental outcomes for Aotearoa with a career path in environmental policy, where she hopes and aspires to influence significant change as New Zealand addresses the urgent climate and biodiversity crises. Ladies and gentlemen, Piper Bingley. And so to the University of Otago. Jessica U. Sampson. And Jessica is completing a postgraduate diploma of bioethics and health law via distance learning while she works in the Wellington ICU as a nurse. She will go on to complete a Master of Bioethics and Health Law, as she has been offered a conditional position on the completion of her diploma. Jessica has been volunteering from a young age for the institutions such as St John, which motivated her current career path. She was recognised as the Northern Region's Regional Cadet of the Year in 2015, which allowed her to act as a voice for the region's youth. And in 2022, Jessica received her 10-year service medal for the Order of St John, which recognises people who have contributed at least 60 hours a week to St John and the wider community for 10 years. She currently volunteers at the Newtown SPCA. Jessica aspires to work as a clinical nurse specialist whilst being able to dedicate some time to a clinical leadership role. And through this, she wants to gain a more nuanced understanding of the ethical complexities that healthcare consumers and providers are faced with every day. Ladies and gentlemen, Jessica U. Sampson. And so to Jessica Darnley. And Jessica is engaged in the honours of her Bachelor of Science majoring in genetics, where she's involved in lab work characterising new virus samples found in mosquitoes and tracking transmission dynamics between locations and species. She plans to go on to pursue a PhD, either in the field of evolutionary virology or other areas of health or ecology. And Jessica has been working in Professor Gemma Geoghegan's lab since 2023, having found the study of microbial genetics fascinating. And outside of her university contributions, Jessica has worked with Kaitiaki Ohara students against dangerous driving as a national leader and became a Girl Guiding New Zealand unit leader in 2022. Additionally, she volunteers with the New Zealand International Science Festival. And upon the completion of her planned PhD, Jessica hopes to do more work on animal health and conservation in relation to viruses. She hopes to strike a balance between research and mentoring the next generations of scientists, as she is passionate about ensuring that science is accessible to all. Ladies and gentlemen, Jessica Darnley. And so to Theodore Isachelik. Theodore is pursuing a Bachelor of Applied Science majoring in software engineering, and this degree is equipping him with the technical expertise needed to design and develop innovative software systems. Theodore has grown up playing piano, tenor drum, and underwater hockey to great success. He is now among the top 20 players within New Zealand, aiming to secure a place in the under-24 New Zealand national team. He also dedicates a portion of his time to coaching other students and volunteering in his community. In terms of career paths, Theodore hopes to combine his skills in software engineering and finance to contribute to the growth and innovation of New Zealand's financial sector, particularly in areas such as algorithmic trading, risk management, and portfolio optimization. He aims to work for a financial institution, investment firm, or fintech company that is focusing on using cutting-edge technology to improve decision-making and drive financial success. Ladies and gentlemen, Theodore Jellick. And so to Zoe Cameron. Zoe is in the final year of her conjoint Bachelor of Laws with Honours and Bachelor of Arts, majoring in politics, philosophy and economics. Last year, she was placed first in environmental law. Her dissertation focuses on greenwashing and assesses whether New Zealand's legal regime can effectively respond to this issue or if international approaches should be considered. Upon the completion of her degree, Zoe plans to work at a commercial law firm to gain experience before pursuing a Master of Laws abroad. Her passion for sustainability has motivated her studies and drives her community involvement as co-president of Students for Environmental Action Otipoti. Zoe has also recently founded Climate Clinic Otago to promote client activism and action in the student community and is a part of the University of Otago Leadership Program. Beyond her Master of Laws, Zoe hopes to either work at a law firm overseas or for Client Earth, an environmental charity that informs, implements and enforces the law to protect the Earth. After moving back to New Zealand, she hopes to set up her own firm solely focused on pursuing environmental action. Ladies and gentlemen, Zoe Cameron. And just by explanation for the next recipients, this one is for the Oraki Scholarship in 2025. And this was set up by Lodge Oraki, number 270, the Masonic Lodge. It makes an annual grant for postgraduate scholarships at the University of Auckland. And the objective of the Oraki Scholarships is to support excellence in education and encourage scholars to use their abilities and skills within New Zealand. And so to receive that from the University of Auckland, in fact, Jean-Daniel Rosset. Jean-Daniel has already completed a Bachelor of Engineering, majoring in mechatronics, which has inspired him towards a path of technological innovation. Currently, he is pursuing a Master's of Engineering, majoring in Engineering Management and Business Development. And during this qualification, he hopes to further his knowledge and experience of sustainability, innovation, and management strategies to make a meaningful and lasting impact in engineering and beyond. Jean-Daniel leads an active life, representing Auckland in competitive swimming and gymnastics, achieving national podium placings. However, he does not let get in the way of achieving of his academia, winning top all-round student each year from year 6 to 13. Well, as well as earning the University of Auckland Distinguished Graduate Award for 2024, graduating with first-class honours. On top of all that, he participates actively in the community as a Freemason of Lodge Haiti. Entering his workforce, Jean-Daniel plans to utilise his engineering expertise and passion for innovation to positively impact New Zealand's sustainability and technology sectors. He aspires to create a company specialising in sustainable technologies, automation and robotics. Additionally, he plans to explore the intersection of technology and business innovation as post-COVID-19 he sees an opportunity for technological solutions that optimise remote and hybrid work environments, enhancing productivity and well-being. Ladies and gentlemen, Jean-Daniel Rosset. And the Lawson Smith Freemasons Education Trust Scholarship provides scholarships to students in their fourth and final year as a Bachelor of Veterinary Science degree. Now, the students must have consistently high grades and actively volunteer and support their community. And so, from the Massey University School of Veterinary Science, Brooklyn Miller. Brooklyn is in the fourth year of her Bachelor of Veterinary Science. She has always been keenly fond of animals, having grown up in a lifestyle block with many animals, which has motivated her dream of becoming a veterinarian. On top of her course studies, Brooklyn has completed her 200 hours of voluntary work for First Vets Honganui. She also been involved in charitable collections for the Breast Cancer Foundation, Cancer Society, and SPCA, Salvation Army, and the Heart Foundation. In 2021, she was awarded the Collis Blake Prize in Animal Science by the School of Agriculture and Environment at Massey University for being the top agricultural student. And upon the completion of her degree, Brooklyn will achieve her goal of being a veterinarian and continue to give back so much to her community. Ladies and gentlemen, Brooklyn Miller. So, with Lucy Corrie. Lucy is the third year of her Bachelor of Veterinary Science and as such hopes to become a veterinarian. She is happiest in the outdoors and thus hopes to protect New Zealand's unique environment through her work. Her goal is to pursue a career in marine and wildlife veterinary science, hopefully working with the Department of Conservation. Previously, she has been awarded the Duke of Edinburgh Bronze Award for her volunteering in a retirement home for Sprott House and with the Wellington SPCA. And having 3 years of work experience working for her local veterinary clinic through high school, Lucy is sure that this is the career path for her. Ladies and gentlemen, Lucy Corrie. And again, Massey University School of Veterinary Science, Phoebe Ozan. Phoebe is pursuing a Bachelor of Veterinary Science to fulfill her passion for animals and the outdoors and achieve her dream of becoming a veterinarian. She particularly hopes to practice as a large animal vet in a rural clinic, working with farmers and their communities. As well as being involved with several sports clubs, Phoebe volunteers through the Veterinary Students Association, engaging in tree planting and stream cleanups. She also volunteers in the Massey SPCA Dissecting Clinic. Phoebe has a great love for the community and a need to make a positive difference in the world, which she aims to do through her work as a veterinarian. Ladies and gentlemen, Phoebe Ozan. And to Zoe Cooper. Zoe is undertaking a Bachelor of Veterinary Science, following in the footsteps of her grandfather, who was a large animal veterinarian. On top of her studies, she has maintained her commitment to volunteering for the benefit of animal welfare with organisations such as the SPCA and Huka. She's also involved in the Massey University Veterinary Students Association, advocating for her fellow classmates and attending student-staff liaison meetings. In 2023, Zoe was recognised for her volunteering work by the Veterinary Students Association with the MSD Animal Health Excellence Award for her services to Whāro Ora and the vet student community. She intends to continue her contributions to the community throughout her career as a vet. Ladies and gentlemen, Zoe Cooper. That's a group photo, yes. But was Jean Daniel, were you in this? Did your photograph taken?
No, it wasn't the veterinary.
No, well, you can do it on your own then, can't we? After that, we'll make sure you get a photograph. And while I invite Jean Daniel back, he can have a photograph. Come on, have your photograph. Yes, exactly. With the Grandmaster, no less. And we're moving, as we do, from that to the Heartland Bank Freemasons Scholarship. Is there attendance at the Heartland Bank here, Grandmaster? Oh, he's there. Okay, of course you are. Yes, I've seen you before. You'd like to come forward with the Grandmaster at this point. And I'm introducing Andrew Wilson. Of course, it's Andrew. Yes, sorry, Andrew. I had met you before. Yes, Andrew Wilson representing the Heartland Bank. And for that purpose, we move to Bridget Trott, who represents the Central Division in this award. Bridget's pursuing a diploma in veterinary nursing. She is in the process of gaining hands-on experience through several clinical placements. And once qualified, Bridget hopes to work in border security to be a drug dog handler so that she can help protect New Zealand borders. Ladies and gentlemen, Bridget Trott. We might get a photograph. Anyway, that's right. I'll come back to that. Emily Rosset. Emily just happens to be the sister of Jean-Daniel Rosset. Emily is in the process of completing her Bachelor of Biomedical Science with the intent of further pursuing a Bachelor of Medicine and Surgery. Her goal is to become a specialist doctor, through which she can engage her passions for science and helping others. Emily aspires to be a doctor who builds a genuine connection with patients, understanding their challenges and on a deeper level. This aspiration is in part inspired by her family's long history of medical professionals. And from the Northern Division of Freemasons New Zealand, Emily Rosset. And to Bridget Gallagher. Bridget is undertaking a Bachelor of Engineering with the intent to achieve honours. She is excited to narrow down her choice of speciality over the course of this degree. Although she is already intrigued by the field of civil engineering, Bridget is excited to use her knowledge of maths and science in a practical application to directly benefit her community. In the long term, she aspires to complete a PhD, but directly upon the completion of her undergraduate studies, she intends to engage in humanitarian-focused work as a qualified engineer. Ladies and gentlemen, Bridget Gallagher. And Grand Master, before you move away from there, I think it was rather delightful, if you wouldn't mind, Emily and Jean-Daniel, I think a photograph together as brother and sister would be rather nice right now with the Grand Master. Brother and sister, ladies and gentlemen. As we now completed the presentations of all those worthy recipients at this time. I think indeed a wonderful reception to all. And for the moment, in particular, I'd ask all those recipients who've received those today to be, please, upstanding. Be upstanding, please. I just want you to do that to present you to all those attending here today, these wonderful examples that the Grand Master has so eloquently said earlier in this process of education, those recipients of the Freemasons University Scholarships of 2025. Congratulations to them. And indeed, I now invite Todd Miller to speak on behalf of the recipients. No, I haven't missed you, Todd. I'm not going to go with that.
Kia ora tātou. Firstly, I'm so humbled to be amongst an amazing group of people, Like, it just really hits me in the feels. It's amazing. I'm a father of two wee little kids, a 3.5-year-old and a 5-year-old, who I got up at 5:30 this morning. You can imagine the look that they gave me. Got them dressed, got the lunch made, and handed them over to a babysitter to get them on their way to school and daycare so I could come down and stand in front of you. When I got here, I've been reading and rehearsing my speech. As I was going through this, I thought, you know what, if I stand up here, I can picture everyone naked or go through and learn everyone's first name or their second name. None of this was going to work. So when I appeared out there, I decided to circulate the room and go and meet as many people as I could and introduce myself, break the ice. Grand Master, I met JD, who's been up for a couple of photos, and he's a Freemason. He said to me, I've got some innovations, some ideas that can broaden what Freemasonry is and how we are inclusive and participatory within the craft. So I said I'd shout out, so I've done that. Right. It's what happens when you walk around the room and talk to people. Okay, so tēnā koutou katoa. Good afternoon. Camilla Balich, MP, Grand Master Jim Watt, distinguished guests, sponsors and Freemasons New Zealand, and fellow recipients. It is a tremendous honour to stand before you this afternoon on behalf of my fellow scholarship recipients. This moment represents not just an acknowledgement of our individual efforts, but a collective investment in the potential that each of us holds to make a meaningful contribution to our fields, our communities, and to Aotearoa New Zealand. Receiving a Freemason scholarship is more than a financial grant. It is a statement of belief. It tells us that you believe in the power of education to transform lives, that you value integrity, service, and leadership, and that you are willing to back that belief with action. For that, we are deeply grateful. To the Freemasons New Zealand, your long-standing commitment to community, service, and personal development sets an example we are proud to follow. The values you embody are the same values that we strive to uphold in our academic and professional pursuits: humility, purpose, and care for others. The scholarship not only enables our studies, but also connects us to a tradition of service that spans generations. To the Heartland Bank, thank you for recognising the importance of supporting the next generation of thinkers, doers, and leaders. Your support underscores the essential role the financial sector plays in shaping not only economic outcomes, but societal progress. To the Lawson Smith family, your generosity carries a legacy. Through this scholarship, you honour lives lived with purpose and continue that legacy by empowering others to live with equal meaning. We are humbled by the trust you place in us, and we hope to live up to that responsibility. And to my fellow recipients, congratulations. This scholarship affirms your hard work and your aspirations. We each bring different passions and ambitions to the table, whether it is in science, education, health, arts, or public service. But we are united by our desire to make a difference. So on behalf of us all, thank you. Thank you for believing in our futures, for investing in our journeys, and for reminding us that we are not alone in our pursuit of knowledge and service. We carry your generosity forward, and we commit to honouring it through our actions, our contributions, and our values. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa.
Kia ora, Todd. Pretty much on time, too. Well, Grand Master, I invite you now to return to the dais to make some presentations, if you would. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. And before I start, once again, congratulations to the recipients. As I said earlier, you're part now of a legacy that started in 1978 and has continued ever since then. And I have, apart from my one wish, that you return to New Zealand or your land of your infant birth and nurture. I also ask that you keep in contact with us, that you send us an email. We'd like to celebrate your successes with you. We'd also like to help you during those downtimes that Stephen spoke about. But whatever you do, just go forth, enjoy yourselves, and thank you for all the work you've done today. We really appreciate it. I'd just like to acknowledge one or two people here today. To Andrew, thank you for your support through the Heartland Bank. That is really appreciated. And I'll ask you to come up here and collect a small of our thanks for you.
Thank you very much for proud to be involved.
Thank you, appreciate it. To Camilla, thank you for hosting us here today. We really appreciated that. It's a great honour to hold these events here in the Legislative Chamber, Council Chamber. And I think it means a lot to the parents to see these presentations done in this very room. So thank you for that. And I know that you don't have to declare this because it's under $500. Stephen, thank you for your words. Stephen boards a flight tomorrow at 6 a.m. So I don't know whether you're going to get a chance to have this. You might just have to leave it behind for you to come back next time. But thank you for your words. They were heartfelt, delivered, And they had a really good message, I think, not just for the students, but for all of us in the room, so we thank you for that. There's a couple other people I'd just like to acknowledge in the room here today that do a lot of work. Bianca and Daria, who's been hidden behind here, and Bianca, I don't know where she's vanished to. She's outside doing the other work. Two of the girls from the office who have done so much work to make these events happen. There's one other gentleman in the room, and I'm going to ask him to stand, Jeff Meyer. Here's the man that controls the money. Jeff carries the title of Grand Almoner, which is a Masonic term, but basically means he chairs our Charities Management Committee, and he's the man that makes certain that these scholarships can continue each year. Jeff, thank you for your work, and thank you for the work of your committee, and thank you for the work of all those present today who are on the selection committee for the work that you do, and allowing us to reach the stage of acknowledging the hard work of these students. Before I finish, I have one last presentation to make. Camilla mentioned that 15 years. I haven't actually been directly involved. I used to be an event manager, was my business, used to do a lot of work, and I think this is my 15th that I've attended, but for the previous 12 I was the organiser of making these things happen. But my counterpart on the other side of the stage here, we've worked together for 15 years on various events and worked together, and this is my last one. I stepped down as Grand Master in October. I've done a 3-year term, and I hand over to my successor, who's actually here today, Paul Chappell. Congratulations, Paul. I hand over, and it's the last time that I'm going to stand on the stage with you. Oh. Now, no, it's not single malt.
Oh.
And if it was single malt, I wouldn't be giving it to you.
No, you're true.
And finally, to the parents and supporters who have attended here today, thank you for coming. You make the event. But more especially, I thank you for the support you've given these young people, as it all bodes well for Freemasonry, that we can continue these events when we know that we have the support of you people and the students that are willing to proceed and work for the benefit of New Zealand. Thank you.
Grand Master, thank you. Also, personally, thank you for that contribution. We have, it will be the first top that's been unscrewed between the two of us, I suspect, over the years. But thank you indeed, and much appreciated. And it's been my privilege too, to work over those years with you, to work with the opportunity here to present to so many wonderful people as recipients of these scholarships as well. And so I do thank you there personally, but also on behalf of all here, the wonderful work that you have done. There are many other ways of you thanking before your term of office has ended, but taking the opportunity here on behalf of all who are here present for these scholarship presentations, the work and organisation over the years you and Penny have done in many ways over that time. So we do thank you. And this is a conclusion of our presence here today, our presentations, those awards, the scholarships, and also a chance to have some refreshment, to join with family again in the Grand Hall, and to share in congratulations with each other. I'm going to ask the recipients to remain within the Legislative Council chamber for a group photograph with the Grand Master and others, but for the remainder at this point, I would ask those as family, friends who are attending here today, if you would be upstanding and retire, and we'll join you again in the Legislative Council chamber very shortly. And thank you for that.